Hi,
Hey, how's it going?
fine, and you?
Doing great.
Can you hear me great?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, thank you for agreeing for this interview.
No problem.
It's really nice from you. So, how are you living your this whole year, your quarantine?
What was that?
How are you living this whole year?
Uh, how's the year going?
Yeah,
Basically, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Good. It's been weird, dealing with the pandemic and the various times where we've been sort of shut down and when we can actually go out and do things and all that. But I think all things considered, like hanging in there, okay, staying busy.
And your life as an actor, how is going
Um,
this year?
Uh, th- this year has been, I think, a little slow for everyone in the entertainment
Yeah.
industry. There's been so many shows that got shut down. I was working on High School Musical, the series for Disney Plus, before the COVID shut everything down. And then about 2 months ago, we started shooting again. So we're sort of, back up with that and trying to be very, very safe. But it is definitely a challenge to do anything on camera right now with all the COVID restrictions, for sure.
And about High School Musical, how is it for you to readapt it something that people knew before as movies, but now in a series with a whole new cast and all that stuff?
It's been a really interesting experience. Tim Federle, who is the showrunner, executive producer, creator of the show, had just such a smart take on how to turn it into a series versus just doing another High School Musical movie. The fact that they used the real school where they shot the movies and then did it documentary style, almost like The Office, to watch kids at the school put on a play or put on the musical High School Musical. It's very meta and very
Yeah,
like crazy, but like it's such a smart way of introducing the series. And then what's great is each additional season you don't have to keep doing High School Musical things. Now instead of it being about High School Musical the movies, it's about kids that are putting on High School Musicals at their school. So you can change the musical every season and just yeah, you don't have to just stick to the High School Musical franchise. You can just sort of keep doing new things every year, which is really smart and fun.
yeah. And people ask me to ask you why this title, High School Musical, the series, is really something that people are kind of disturbed about it.
Uh, it's I think it's really funny,
Yeah,
mostly. Like I think it brings a lot of attention to the show because it is just an unusual title,
yeah.
and I think it does a really good job of it. It pays respect to the original High School Musical, but then also lets you know that you're in for something a little bit different with the series. So High School Musical, the series. I think it just lets you know exactly what you're in for. It's High School Musicals, it's a series, and every season will be like a new musical. So it totally works.
So you are mostly known for Kicking It and Hannah Montana, and
Yeah.
both show are Disney shows. So they are adapted for an audience kind of young. Have you sometimes been bothered by some scenes to shoot because for you, for your age, it was not mature or silly or something humiliating? Humiliating, thinking about all the scenes between Jackson and Rico, and yeah.
Like, did I have a problem with it since I was older, playing younger, and doing all this
Yes, yes.
stuff? No, I mean, I think that like in general, I have the same sense of humor as an adult as I did when I was 15, 16 years old. I find the same things funny. I will laugh at a good burp joke. I will laugh at a good fart joke. People getting messy is always funny. So I was more focused on if it felt like it was funny and if it felt like whatever the silly bit was justified in the story we were doing. I never had a problem doing any of the wacky, crazy stuff. Um, yeah, it was more about just finding the most funny was the goal. So I didn't really worry about much else besides that.
And is it is it difficult to play a character that is often ridiculed to make the audience laugh?
No, no, I like it. I think again, if people are laughing,
Yeah,
I'm doing my job. You know what I mean? And I think that multi-camera sitcoms like Hannah Montana and like Kicking It, they're 100% meant to be watched like with your friends or with your family, and you can forget about your worries. You can just watch something that's really funny and goofy and silly for, for a half hour. And as long as it's entertaining and as long as it's funny, then I don't have any problem with any of the more outrageous, goofy stuff that we did.
um, and while I was preparing this interview, I had a talk with some friends, and they told me you were one of their childhood icon, and that our generation, I'm 22, has been kind of blessed by Hannah Montana, result of with the lead plays, Zack and Cody. Um, and how do you feel to know that your work has touched so many lives?
I find it very flattering. I get feedback almost every day from fans of the show. Like they'll message me on Instagram, or I mean, when you could go out in public, people would stop me at the mall, or they would just stop me on the street and and tell me how much the shows meant to them growing up. And it's humbling. It really is humbling. The fact that the show reached as far as it did. I mean, we were on. I think Hannah was on in like 150 countries around the world. I mean,
Yeah,
it was millions and millions of people that grew up on that show. And I think the thing that I like the most about the experience is even now, people say they rewatch it and it still like makes them feel the same as they did when they were growing up watching it. And then there's been some people who like they have kids now and they're watching it with their like little kids, and it's sort of like a whole new generation being
yeah, it's
reintroduced.
passed down.
Yeah, and the fact that families are able to share those moments together is really important to me. Even like I do some of those cameo videos, and I get a lot of requests from people like dads for their daughters. It'll be like, will you make a birthday video? Hannah Montana was the show that we watched when she was growing up, and this would just mean the world. And then sometimes it's even the other way, where it'll be like a daughter who used to watch with her dad, and then like I was the favorite character of the dad, so she'd be like, will you send my dad a happy birthday video? And it's been, it's been 10 years since the show
Yeah,
came out or whatever. And so the fact that a decade later it still brings families together in these little ways is really, I feel really proud of that.
during our conversation, my friends felt sorry for the new generation because they want to know Hannah Montana, Zaki Gandhi, and everything. At least not like we knew this. And the show airing now on Disney Channel are not, their opinion, are not as good as they were before.
Yeah,
What do you think about it? Do you think it's true it was better before, or not?
I'm definitely biased because I mean it's my shows that were on during that time, but I do feel like there was something really special about that time on the Disney Channel. It was Hannah Montana, it was Sweet Life like you mentioned, it was Wizards of Waverly. That's when the High School Musical movies came out. Just across the board, the quality of the stuff that was on the channel was really, really high. And I think that part of the reason was they were just telling really good stories. They were like characters and families that you really cared about. Like you were
Yeah.
really rooting for them to, like, you wanted Miley to be able to keep her secret so she could live both lives. Like that was exciting and fun. And it was fun to watch the Sprouse twins on Zach and Cody like run amok and be all crazy and live in that hotel or live on the cruise ship after they switched to the cruise ship. There was just something really fun about the shows. I feel like the shows after us, they got a little young, maybe. Like they were geared, they were maybe like a little too silly. I don't know, I'm not sure. That I mean, our show was pretty silly, so I don't even know if that's what it is. But I feel like they maybe went for a slightly younger audience, and for me
Yeah,
that made the shows like less compelling to watch than some of the stuff that was on when I was.
Yeah, I agree. There is something very special about that period on Disney, because I mean, we just have to look around. These shows created how today biggest stars, Miley, Selena, Zac Efron, Demi Lovato, and one thing that's really disturbing me, because I didn't realize back then because I was way too young, is that these actors actresses were really young too.
Yeah.
And what's your opinion about kids getting famous that young? Because there is a lot of talk about it.
Yeah, I think that it's a hard situation. I've seen kids that are really good at dealing with the pressure and
Yeah.
with the fame and with the money and all the things that sort of come with having a successful show or a successful music career. And then I've also seen it like mess some kids up, like where they just their families aren't good enough or supportive enough to like help them get through it without just sort of going a little crazy, you know?
Yeah.
I think that more and more, especially Disney Channel, that because that's the only place that I know sort of how they work. I think more and more they're trying to put support systems in place to make the experience a little bit easier for the kids. So they have resources to like deal with any sort of mental health issues that come up, like if they're feeling too stressed out or if they're feeling uh, yeah, just any anxiety related things that come with being like growing up on TV in front of people. I think they're trying to put systems in place to like help them through that, and I think that's really important. In a way, that's kind of what my role on. Sorry about that. I'm not sure if you heard that
No
ding.
worries.
Um, part of. I'm gonna turn this do not disturb on. Okay. Part of what my role on High School Musical, the musical, the series is, I'm really like I'm like an acting coach, but also sort of like a camp counselor, den mother for the kids. Like as somebody who's had two different series for Disney, like I know sort of like what they're going through, and I know like what the pressures are and how the show and the experience evolves from season to season. And so Disney and also the show itself just wanted to have really good support stuff in place for them as they were trying to put together this really ambitious show. And it's and I've enjoyed the experience a lot because I feel like I'm helping them adjust to the pressures that come as the show gets bigger and bigger, and when they have questions about like, is this okay, or am I really expected to do that, or I don't know, I feel like I've got answers and some perspective that helps them figure stuff out. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a really tough thing. I like if I had kids, I don't know if I would let my kids be child actors, just because there's so much just stress involved with it,
Yeah.
and it takes a really really strong family unit to be able to like handle it.
Would you have wanted to be known that young?
I don't i don't know. I mean, I think in some ways, yeah, I wouldn't have minded starting my career younger, but I also think I probably would have been more of a jerk, honestly. Do you know what I mean? Like I think there's no way to like be that successful when you're 12 years old and not have it sort of go to your head a little bit.
Yeah,
The
sure.
fact that I was a little bit older and like I had gone to college, and I came from a pretty like poor family, so like I had to work my way myself through college, and like I knew sort of like the value of money and like what it means to work hard for things. So when I finally got the opportunity with Hannah, I really appreciated it, and I appreciated all the people around me as well, and so I didn't take any of it for granted. Um, and I think it just made me just better adjusted. If I didn't have those experiences, I'm afraid that I probably would have been maybe a little bit of a jerk, like, or just like one of the things that happens is they try to encourage the kids, so they always tell them how great they are and what a great job they're doing. And when you're 13 and you're being told that you're amazing all the time, it's really hard to like not think that you're better
Yeah.
than maybe you are. So yeah, it's interesting.
And I would like to ask you, this question to you as a person. Have you ever been afraid to have this Disney image that sticks to your skin?
No, not really. I think you know it's more of a blessing than it is
Yeah,
a hindrance. You know what I mean? Disney is they're known all around the world. They're such a strong brand. Fans of Disney shows and Disney music, they're really loyal fans. And if you treat them well, they will sort of follow you forever. Um, and so any worry that I have about it making it harder to get other jobs in the future,
yeah,
I don't really worry about that so much. I feel like ultimately your talent and the relationships that you build with other people in the industry, that is what ends up being the deciding factor in how much you work and sort of what opportunities you have. And it's not like, you know, whether you have the stink of Disney on you. I don't think that's anything that I worry about. I mean, all you have to do is look at somebody like Miley, who she can do anything she wants. If she wanted to be in a movie, she could be in a movie. If she wanted another series,
yeah.
she could do a series. If she wants to just tour around the world and do music, she can do that. Being from a Disney show, an iconic Disney show, doesn't mean that she can't do things that aren't Disney. So I'm not really too worried about that aspect of it.
But would like to uh, do something maybe more badass, or are you feeling really quite well with Disney?
I yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely times where I would like to do more adult humor, than Disney humor. I had a really good friend, Mitch Gould, who wrote this fun, crazy action movie that we shot in Romania when I was doing Kickin' It. And that's something that we've talked about trying to turn into a series. And that is very non-Disney. It's a violent, uh, action A Team meets Expendables sort of movie, and it is fun and totally different. And so I've had some opportunities to play things that aren't Disney,
Yeah,
but I also, you know, the thing about it is the world is like, it's a really stressful place. And the shows that I've done for Disney, I feel like do a really good job of letting people escape for a little bit of time from their problems. And so if my contribution to the world in general is just like silly entertainment that makes people laugh, and that families can watch together, and I don't get to do a bunch of badass adult stuff, I still feel really good about
yeah,
that as a career. Do you know what I mean? I feel like you're
yeah.
still doing some good out there in the world.
I mean, it's kind of something that all the actors want to do, just entertain people and put them in like a bubble, um, in which all their problems are not there, at least for 20 minutes or 2 hours. So yeah, it's your goal.
Yeah.
Um, and in your actor's life, you often answer to questions related to your work, and it's great. But I do believe you all actors have way more things to say. And if you could be a journalist and ask yourself a question, um, something that you would like to share with people, what will it be?
Um, that's a good question. I think I would ask, um, um, what do you think is wrong with the world today, and how can we fix it? That's what I would ask myself. A kind of a weird, random, broad question. And the way I would answer it is, I just think that the world lacks empathy at the moment.
Yeah,
I think everybody is incredibly focused on what they want and what they need in the moment, and we do not do a very good job of trying to understand other people's points of view, or to compromise or find common ground. And it leads to us being really cruel to each other when we have such an opportunity to make the world better for everybody, not just how much can I get right now?
Yeah.
I think that just a general lack of empathy is the thing that stresses me out and like sort of frustrates me about the world the most at the moment.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of negativity out there, and we are often being drawn by all the bad news, you know, and so people take the habits to just close their eyes and just they just don't want to be concerned by it because they think that, well, I don't have to be concerned about it because other people will, and so I won't do my part because I just don't want to. I just want to think about myself, and yeah, so I think that's what it's happening in the world right now.
Yeah.
So it's
I think the US is like just a shiny example of how shitty it is to be concerned with only yourself. Like we're just doing such a terrible job right now of like caring about anyone else. It's mind blowing to me.
yeah.
Very very frustrating.
But have you heard the news that happened 2 days ago in France? They voted for a law that forbid people to film the police when they are film the police. So the police can film us, but we can't film them. So
Yeah,
if a policeman is brutal to someone, we won't
yeah,
have proof. And if we have a proof, then it's we have to pay. It says we have to pay, and we can go 1 year in prison. So with all the things that happened this year, they
yeah,
voted for this law, and yeah, it's I just
yeah.
have no words about it.
Yeah, that's incredibly frustrating. And I think that like the last 6 months in the US, uh, there has been a lot of push for change in the way the police handle the public and the public respond to the police and all of that stuff. And the whole like beginning of that was people videotaping and having proof of something that happened on the street, right? The George Floyd videos.
Yeah,
And so without the people having the ability to like capture those things, like it's really hard to make the changes that sort of need to be made. Yeah,
yeah. I hope we will learn the lesson and do better
yeah,
in 2021. Yeah, not as it was before because before wasn't good, but better than that. So yeah. So thank you, Jason, for this interview. I love talking to you, and I hope you had a great time. Uh, the interview will be released in 2 weeks from Monday. So I'll post it on social media on Twitter and Instagram and head you tag you.
that's great.
So yeah,
No,
I wish you well.
I really appreciate it. I hope that you got what you wanted, and
Yeah,
good
it
luck
was
with.
great.
Yeah, if this is the beginning of a long and successful journalism career,
I
I
hope.
wish you all the luck in the world. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
You too. Thank you.
Hi guys. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Jason. It was really fun to do. Please tell me in the comment what you think about it. I would love to read from you. It's really important for me because it's helping me to learn and to grow. And also tell me what you would like to see in my next interviews. And if you don't want to tell me on YouTube, you can DM me on social media. And if you want to see more of me, please be sure to subscribe to my channel and follow me on social media. And so, yeah, I'm gonna see you next Monday, I hope, for a whole interview with Brenda Strong from This Brothers Rife, 14 Reasons Why, and many more. And now it's time for you to get out of your room, put your mask on, and go get the best of both worlds. Okay, bye.